was born the year that Brown versus Board of Education was decided. And so even as a kid, I was aware of this broader movement.
Our parents being adults in the Jim Crow era, we made the transition from one kind of society to another.
Having watched them march and protest and struggle, the idea of not voting, not being involved in the political and civic life in our community was not anything that was in our DNA.
I think Ron has always been an individual that desired to help other people.
Throughout his life, he has been working within the system to help people who are marginalized. And if anything captures in a sentence what CPPP is dedicated to, it is that.
Public service has been primarily what Ron Kirk has sought to do with his life, and we are a better state and a better nation for it.
He was definitely an asset to Governor Richards and to the legislative process.
By the time Ann is elected governor, I'd worked for the city for 6 years, I'd worked in Washington, and I was practicing law. Ann gave me a chance to serve. And while I was serving her as Secretary of State, I decided to throw my hat in the ring and run for mayor.
It was a resounding victory, fairly unprecedented for someone to come out of the private sector and someone that was not immediately on the radar to end up winning that historic race to be mayor.
The city was very fragmented in probably, you would say, the late 80s and the early 90s. He came in with really, I want to unite us kind of message. I want to bring everybody together.
If we can all focus on what binds us, our common dreams and aspirations, safer neighborhoods, better parks, more jobs, stronger schools, was not a black or white or Hispanic agenda. That's an agenda most people could look at and start nodding their heads.
He served an important role in bringing people together and creating a sense of energy and identifying important projects and linking the business community and the minority community.
He was the person who provided the leadership and the glue to take Dallas through some very difficult times. That Trinity River project is just one of many of the successes.
That bridge provided a connectivity to the city that's more than structural. We are now beginning to see development all along that Trinity River. It's a metaphor for how we've got to connect and grow, invest, and change the city.
I honestly don't think that there's any expectation that any one person could put on Ron that was higher than what he expected of himself.
Ron Kirk is somebody who could have used his skills, his personality, his intellect to just make money. But to walk away from that and decide to go into public life and then decide to go back and make money again, and then to walk away from a lucrative legal career and serve a president of the United States really says a lot about his character, and it says a lot about the kind of person his parents raised him to be.
So we're in Chicago for an event. It goes reasonably well. And as we're leaving, I get on the elevator and this kid sticks his hand in the door and these two guys get on. And one guy says, my friend here is thinking about running for the U.S. Senate for Illinois. Do you have any advice for him? And I said, what's your name? And he said, I'm Barack Obama. And I did. I was like, for real? I said, you gotta be kidding me. And I'm like, yeah, I got advice. You gotta change your name, dude. Nobody's gonna be elected with a name like that. We struck up a friendship that's lasted to this day.
No matter what role he's playing, an underlying truth for that is that he's really fighting for people to be able to actualize and realize themselves.
And the best tool that we've ever invested in this country to do that is education. Even in the midst of the worst segregation and Jim Crow, the one thing we all clung to was our faith and our belief. Man, you let me get into school, you let me grab the tools that I need to educate myself, and I'll determine my destiny.
That ability to rise and that ability to have equality is, I think, the center's values as well as Ron's.
Ron Kirk, by his work, has contributed invaluably, immeasurably to a greater Texas.